Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Van Orn and this is another Dragonheir Silence God video. If you click on the thumbnail, you're here to see a bunch of low-level champions taking on stage 9 of Grave of Curse. And before we get into the content, let me just do a quick disclaimer before some of you get triggered. I'm gonna use Witches Remain, and I'm gonna offer to you alternative and explain to you what you need to do if you don't have Witches Remain and you're using the Crowning Clean. Well, we're gonna talk about that when we're gonna see the DPS I'm using in this run. I'm gonna use two legendaries. There are for season 3 banner. They're new to season 3, so if you're playing season 1 or 2, you're not gonna have them. But again, if you stick around and you listen to the entire video, I'm gonna offer to you alternatives, epic champions that you can for sure have by the time you get to this point. At least in season 3, if you're starting fresh, you might not have it, of course, but nobody started with all the champions in the game. But there are two epics you can use instead of these two legendary. And of course, me, like anybody else, I'm very limited with the XP and the energy, so I need to be very selective with the champions I'm building. And I've built these two legendary because for me, they're massively useful somewhere else. Obviously, if you don't have them, build the epics. They're gonna do just fine. The third warning that I'm going to give you is that the run is manual. And the reason why it's manual is because one of the legendary I'm using is a bit random and there is no way for me to find a perfect time to completely do the run on auto. And so I have to manual the ultimates of all my champions basically. But if you're using the epic instead that I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the timing and so you can run this comp on auto on stage 9. So let's jump into the Grave of Curse and have a quick look at the skills. If you are not familiar with the boss does basically puts attacks up and crit damage on himself. This is going to happen somewhere in between 6 seconds and 12 seconds. It's a bit delayed, so you need to be careful with the timing of that. And then on the A2 is going to dispel the shield from one of your champions, and the A3 is gonna smack you hard board wise, so the placing really doesn't matter unless you have reason to keep your comp together or spread out for gear reason, I don't know. But then it's gonna basically put on himself a shield equal to 240% of the damage dealt to your comp. So you need to protect your comp as much as possible. So I have finished all my energy for today. So we have to jump into the sparring pit so I can show you my comp over here. The comp we're going to have a look at, it's basically the comp I'm running, but with a budget artifact set. Let's call it budget because I'm running only Witches Remain, which is the only artifact you might don't have access to. These are the champions I'm running. I'm running Garius with the new eye patch artifacts that reduce the AoE damage it takes, and it gives him defense. This is to boost his defense up and to give him the opportunity to heal much more and basically keep the team alive. He has a terrible positive rune and a terrible negative rune. He's my only champion at level 99 and is my only champion with a negative rune. He's in epic gear and it's still gonna do the job. So no not Garius exclusive, no gatekeeper stuff on this run. The next champion is going to be Adolphus. As you can see, he's a 4-star level 90, no negative runes obviously. Positive runes is kind of terrible as well. It's HP, no enlightenment over here. He's in legendary gear because I want to get him with as much enlightenment as possible. He has the tiara, which is only level 16. You can push it up to level 20 and get a little bit more enlightenment, more shield, and your champions are going to be more beefy and difficult to take damage. The next champion is one of the first legendary that I'm going to use, and is Victor. Victor has the slingshot, which give him accuracy and increase basically the damage he does. It's gonna help a bit, but he's not built for damage. He has a defense chest and a defense gauntlet. I'm trying to get him to the right accuracy. You can see 220. and be beefy enough to take less damage. He's not there to do damage. He's there because he has this ultimate to basically remove 2 debuff and convert 2 buff and convert him to 2 debuff. Now, he is also the reason why I cannot automate and make this run completely auto, because he plays 2 random debuff of this list, and one of them is recharge speed penalty. If I get recharge speed penalty, the run basically it's stretched out a little bit longer. If I don't get it, I know how much it could be, but this is going to be happening randomly, and so I cannot set a time precisely to run the comp. If this doesn't land, I found out that the run is around 24 seconds because of the other champion I'm using that pushed back the ultimate energy. But if you place it, then the run goes off and it doesn't stay on time. But the other legendary is Fatten Down, another new Lego from Season 3, is an amazing tank, and the reason why I built him over the alternative is because it brings this incredible aura that I use on Goblin Lair. He is my tank for Goblin Lair. His ultimate plays decreased defense on the entire board, and so when I'm doing a run in Goblin Lair, I need someone giving me more attack for my DPS and basically spreading out the decreased defense everywhere. He has the crown on the Witch's Remain, and I've given to him this set, which is really not necessary to be honest, but it helps because it increases slightly the defense of the champions surrounding him, even if defense it's not that high. It's only 1300 and he shares 15% of that, so it's not doing much to be honest. But the reason why I'm using him is because he has this ultimate that basically strikes the enemy 8 for 8 seconds every second, so 8 times, placing attack penalty and pushing back the ultimate energy by 5%. Now this happens 8 times, so it pushed back the ultimate energy quite a lot. It's a bit difficult to time, as I said. I work out that if he was by himself, it will be 24 seconds. But if you don't have this champion, the alternative will be Clovis. Clovis is an epic from the Radiant Affinity that has decreased attack on the ultimate, and it pushed back the turn meter, I think 15%. What it does basically, it's putting the timing for the run, instead of being 18 seconds, it will be 19.2 seconds. I've used that last season on all my run. I've done the second best time, I think, or maybe the first one. I don't know. I don't remember. On Graver Curse with an all epic comp, using him and giving him the crown, the clean. It was a pretty clean run. You can use him definitely. Still gonna do a good job. And if you don't have Garius, you can use his aura, which is also the same as a 24% defense. You're just gonna have to bring someone else to heal the team. So there you go, you have all the alternative for this comp. Now let's get to my DPS. I'm using the Rivatrix route, which is the second legendary artifact I'm using over here, but this one should be accessible if you've done Season 2 and if you've done the Fey Meander. If you haven't done it, you can use the Eye of the Giant, or you can use any other DPS artifact. The only thing you need to be careful of is building enough surviving stats, because she needs to take less damage as possible. As you can see, the defense is not high. I've boosted this set because I'm using basically the only legendary gear I got so far. I don't have much gear, but this is a decent set that I've been able to put together. I've been quite lucky. The helmet is nothing special. This is a double run on double rolls on crit rate, attack percentage, some accuracy that I don't need over here. I have a crit rate with some triple rolls on attack, flat attack, so the attack is decent. The crit rate is over 80%, which is everything Tononan needs. And the reason why I'm happy to combine basically all these artifacts and this gear set is because the artifacts give me a lot of attack once in a fight. I'm gonna have 30% more attack and 30% more HP, making the champion more tanky, making the champions a lot more doing a lot more damage. This is also going to combine with this set, which basically, when you have 3 pieces, the wearer gains an additional 4 attack for every 1 crit damage they have. Now the crit damage is not much, it's only 80, but Tonanon passive is going to build up 20%, 5% crit damage, 20 stacks of that during the entire fight. It might not get all the way up to 20 because the fight might not be long enough, and if it doesn't trick wild, it doesn't get this one. But if you get there, and even if you get there only a few times, this is going to increase a lot the damage that the champion does, increasing the attack and increasing the crit damage constantly. And the crit damage is going to increase the effect of this one. So that's why I am doing it this way. Now, if you don't have the Witch's Remain and you're using the Crowned Clean, what you have to do is farm better gear and farm negative rune. My positive rune is trash. I don't have crit rate on this one, it's crit damage. You can put up an attack negative rune over here, and you're going to push the damage even more, maybe adding more crit damage. You can put crit rate on everything here and put a crit damage gauntlet. You're going to boost your damage immensely compared to this one. So there are ways, as I said, to run this comp with no Witch's Remain. But obviously you have to work more on your gear, you have to invest more energy in farming gear and leveling your champion. The timing here doesn't exist, as I said. If you're running Clovis, you have to use a 19.2. I'm going to put up the run in the background, and you're going to see basically that I'm using the skills all together when the turn meter of the recharge speed penalty of the boss get basically halfway between the A2 and the A3. We're going to take some damage, but it's not significant to the point that the champions are about to die. We're taking off the decreased attack and increased crit damage every single time without failing. We are shielding our champion with Adolphus just before the ultimate. We have decreased attack from Fathom Down. We have the defense aura from Garius, the 24%. Our champions are built well enough to sustain the damage and to go through the run, basically. The run is very close to the time because the run I'm doing with the epic artifact is gonna basically go all the way to 4 minutes 40. So it gets very, very close to not being in time. I think I've used also some food on here, giving the 10% attack, because I was worried that the damage will not be enough to get all the way inside the 5 minutes, basically. And sometimes the accuracy of some of this champion is very low. I'm going to show you also the run and the gear that I'm running on my comp that I use for farming this stage for myself. Obviously, having access to the legendary artifacts make it a bit easier and a bit faster. Not that much faster, to be honest. It's only a few seconds, I think 15 or 20 seconds faster, but it's more safe and I don't need to use food to get to that point. So let's start from Tonanon, which is built exactly the same as it was in the previous comp. On Fathom Down as well, I am using the same gear and the same artifact. I'm using the Hourglass on Victor, not because I really need it for the ultimate, but I'm trying to get the battle skills that remove the shields more often. If you remove the shields, if the boss gets some shield and Victor remove it, I can get through the run much faster. Then I'm using the Alminster Magic Guide as an artifact for Adolphus because he has more enlightenment, more shield, and increase the endurance of the shield. And then I'm using Garius with the Gatekeeper staff, is exclusive, to shield even more my comp and to be sure that my champions are going to be healthy through the entire fight and protected by a very thick and large shield. That's it. That's everything that's changed. The comp is doable with both basically gearing situation. It's still quite impressive in my opinion, running 3 champion at 4-star level 90. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you are stuck around for the entirety of the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It will help the channel grow, and I'm going to see you soon with another video about Dragonheir Silence God.